Welcome to Whiskey One, the channel for the novice, the curious, and the connoisseur. I'm Whiskey One, and today we have a guest by the name of Justin Gleason. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and we're here in Albuquerque at Monte Cigar. A great spot if you're into cigars and you want to lounge, relax, get away, and you probably will find just about any cigar. I want to just quickly mention that their walk-in humidor is top-notch. Got to walk in and see a huge selection, so pretty awesome. So thanks for having us over here. And quick shout out to Matt, of course, for letting us use the spot
100%.
To shoot our latest video. We do have a blackened whiskey, which was just released. It's their Blackened X, featuring a collaboration with Wes Henderson. Now, Wes Henderson is now since retired. So if you don't know much about Wes Henderson, he's basically the co-founder of none other than
Angel's Envy.
That's right, Angel's Envy. And if you've had their Angel's Envy bourbon, you know that they basically age it and finish it with port wine. So it was kind of a no-brainer for them to use Wes Henderson and basically collaborate with Blackened and see what they could come up with. So now today we also will be talking a little bit about cigars. Justin has offered to kind of taste some of the Blackened as well as smoke some of the Blackened cigars. Now this is an M81 Maduro.
Maduro.
Yeah, so what can you tell us about the Maduro?
It's one of their newer ones that came out early beginning of the year. Again, it's just like the Blackened. It's Metallica's cigar that they got together and did with Drew Estates. It's a Mexican San Andreas Maduro wrapper. For the wrapper, your binders are going to be your Connecticut broadleafs, and then your fillers are Nicaraguan and some of the Pennsylvania broadleaf tobacco too. So it's a good medium, full to medium body stick. So something that hopefully pairs very well with this whiskey, since they're going to be kind of we're the same people that help put them together.
Yeah. Now, when I think of Metallica, I don't usually think of whiskey or cigars, but they've dove right into the game, and I'm interested to see just how well they pair. You know, we were talking earlier about whiskey and cigars, and they do pair well. Certainly you have ones that pair better than others, but I'm really eager to dive into this one. This is a new bottling, like I said, from Blackened. It's bottled at cask strength. It's going to be 58.1% ABV. So yeah, it's definitely gonna get you there. So let's go ahead and pop this sucker and get right into it, shall we? All right, so we got our Norland glasses, we got our cigars, and we're in the cigar lounge. So what more do you need, right? There you go, get you topped off. So, all right, so this is a fresh uncorking for me. So have you tried this at all yet?
Have not tried it yet. It's
Okay.
been sitting on the shelf for a couple weeks since I bought it, and was looking forward to getting this set up and done.
Nice, man. Well, cheers. We'll get right into it. It's got a beautiful color. You know, I think when you take whiskey and age it in a wine cask, you're undoubtedly going to get a lot of those darker hues. This one's got a nice crimson color to it. It is oily. You know, it's high proof and it's unfiltered. So you can expect just to have a lot more oil and viscosity in the dram. And man, it's got a beautiful color. We'll do a close-up of that here later. But what are you getting on the nose? Okay. Certainly you get that wine presence, man. It's fruity, dark red fruits.
Definitely the port finish.
Now this is Kentucky straight bourbon, and it's been aged for 6 years before they finished it in the white port casks. So I'm not sure, you know, how long that additional aging was done, but it's a minimum 6-year straight bourbon. So what are you thinking? Definitely a straight bourbon?
Yeah.
If you go to their website, they do at least share the tasting notes that you can expect. One of the few tasting notes that they put on there is pears. I do get orchard fruits, surprisingly. I was expecting more of the dark red fruits, but this does feel more orchard forward. And one of the tasting notes that they talked about was cigar box. Now, we're here in the cigar lounge, and I'm getting a lot of cigar smoke. So that's not surprisingly gonna happen, but I'm not sure that I get so much of it on the whiskey itself. But you know, just the aroma that's in this room alone, the cigar, smoke already, and this is just a good pairing just by itself. So whether you're smoking a cigar or you're smoking cigars with others, this is feeling pretty good. It does have a bit of spice to it. I'm getting a lot of cinnamon as well as orchard fruit just on the nose, but I'm ready to dive into this, man. Cheers.
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 Cheers again.
Wow. Okay, so the taste is really full of orchard fruit. So when they were talking pears, you get a whole lot of that on the taste, and it's really full and spicy. Like, I'm getting a ton of pear on this. So
yeah, it's definitely a pear. Like I said, the orchard fruits, a little bit of cinnamon. You do get that oakiness from just the straight bourbon.
Yeah.
But it's not an overpowering like oakiness. It's perfect with the finish of the pears. You do have a little bit of that cinnamon, like that earthy tones to it as well. That's actually really good. Take a second.
Now I've had their other releases. They do tend to be fruit forward, mostly because the Blackened core lineup, it is a straight bourbon, but it's usually finished in a brandy cask. That's really what their core lineup is all about, is finishing and aging in brandy casks. Now, if you didn't tell me, I would assume that this was just a cask strength blackened, you know, that's been aged in a brandy cask, but for some reason that white port is kind of throwing me off. I'm just expecting more red berries or like those darker fruits, but this is more stone fruit forward than anything, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely got that. A lot of those orchard fruits, the pears.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, especially being a cask strength. It's got the heat with it too, but it's very sweet still with the pears and the finish on it.
All right, so the M81, which is a Maduro. That's what we're gonna try this out with. So like I said, we're at we're at Monte's Cigars. This is a great spot. If you're in Albuquerque, we highly suggest that you check these guys out. They have lounges upstairs, downstairs. They have that walk-in humidor. I don't think you'll be bored here. They have a nice setup. You can watch the game here on the weekends. But I'm really digging the vibe. Pretty chill atmosphere, and I'm ready to get into this, man. So what can you tell me about like cigars in general when it comes to pairing with whiskey? Is there any particular cigar type that you're looking to like start with?
It depends again also how much of a cigar smoker you are. If it's something that you're doing it once or twice a month, you know, definitely on the lighter side of things. With that, probably just your basic small batches, Elijah Craig's, 1792, like just your basic small batches with a good Connecticut, just something easy to smoke, something that has really great flavor, something that very pair well. You know, if you go towards somebody who's a little bit more a couple times a week throughout the month, you know, you go into more of a medium-bodied cigar and start kind of getting into more of the finished whiskeys towards also the higher proofs. And then, you know, if you're really into the cigars and smoking them all the time, you definitely get into, you know, your heavy Maduros, you get into some more of the higher end cigars, and then you get into the higher end whiskeys and scotches and tequilas and everything else that does blend very well with your cigars. It's all just dependent on what you do.
Is there like a particular whiskey that you feel like pairs better with cigars, or you just Are you a bourbon man, so you're always going to start with the bourbon and a cigar? Or doesn't really matter?
Normally just a bourbon. I'm a straight bourbon guy. Every once in a while we do the ryes. We always have a couple guys here. We share and taste test a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
But normally I'm just a high proof bourbon kind of guy. With the cigar is normally where I'm at, but
yeah.
we do scotches as well. And that's one of the things that got me into scotches. This is one of the guys here and said I had to try something, and I wasn't really a scotch guy, and now
you're
getting
scotch
into it, and getting further and further into the rabbit hole.
So scotch, right? So are peated scotches more more your thing, or are you more into the Glenlivets, the Glenfiddich, Glenfarclas or something?
More into a lot of the Belvini, more of the Highlands rather than a lot of the peated stuff. We can definitely have it. I've tried a few of them. Haven't been a big fan when I first tried them, but again, your palates do change.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
or you
for
drink
sure.
something, they've learned to appreciate the peated peated scotches. But a lot of the stuff is going to be the Highlands is my favorites. Different finishes too, especially there with the different sherries, and I know Belvini did their American Oak with the bourbon barrel, and that one is probably one of my favorite scotches, just to be able to sit back and relax and light up a cigar. And
well, I'll tell you what, this particular cigar is nutty. Right off the bat, it was a bit earthy. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I think it definitely complements this blackened, right? A blackened cigar with the blackened whiskey.
Yeah, so far, yeah. We'll have to give it about half an inch in and get started on these and see what we get flavor-wise on the retrohale and stuff to see. But so far, it's definitely got a lot of the same. That like the cigar box that they were talking about on that, it definitely comes from when you have the cedar.
I think that mix of the fruitiness of this whiskey, the spiciness of this whiskey goes well in particular with this cigar. I'm not getting a lot of spice from the cigar, so every bit of spice is really coming from the whiskey. But I think that nuttiness, like I was mentioning earlier, just kind of helps round a lot of different flavors out.
Yeah, definitely. After a couple puffs of this, tasting it again, definitely the pairing side of it does very well with, like I said, the nuttiness of the cigar, the Maduro being a little bit more of an oilier wrapper, something that's going to be a little bit more full-bodied, especially with cask strength. It's definitely a perfect match. And I think they've done well so far of the whiskey side of it, but also the cigar, and knowing that one of the best things to do is whiskeys and cigars.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer. Honestly, this is the first time that we kind of talk about it on camera. I have buddies, we all have our buddies that get into cigars, they get into whiskeys, and they'll have their recommendations, but this is the first on-camera pairing that I've ever done, so I really appreciate you talking me through some of the subtleties, the nuances of cigars. Would you say that there is a category of cigar or a style of cigar that you would recommend with the blackened in addition to the blackened cigar? Is there anything that kind of jumps out at you?
Anything on the Padron line for sure would definitely work. They do their 7,000 series or 3,000, their 1,000 series cigars, which are their base model cigars, basically their base, and they do get into the higher end stuff. Where like the one I showed you in there, that 80-year torpedo. That's more of for me, it's more of a anniversary, birthday, holiday cigar. Father's Day around with my dad is what we normally sit here and enjoy a good pour or two and have that cigar. Would definitely pair very well. But just basically a lot of Perdomo, even the ones I was telling you about, those sun-grown Habanos would probably do really well with this too.
Oh man, I kind of feel like after having a couple draws from the cigar and then going back to that whiskey, I would say those flavors kind of jump out a little bit more on the taste. Nothing's getting like drowned out, you know, between the cigars, whiskey, going back and forth. I've had cigars that kind of will shoot your palate, right? They're pretty strong, they're pretty spicy, got a lot of bold flavors that come just from the cigars themselves, but I feel like this whiskey's really holding up. I don't know if it's just because it's a cast strength, who knows, but the flavors alone kind of do it for me. Like they just sort of stand out just by themselves. All right, so we've talked enough about the whiskey, the cigar pairing. Justin, talk to me about Monte's. Like, how'd you hear about it? What made you decide to check this place out? What do you know about Monte's?
So originally with me starting over here, I haven't smoked cigars very long since it was my COVID thing. I couldn't do anything else, so my dad offered me a cigar one morning, and the rest is history. It just started almost there, couple of week type thing. And then
I hear COVID got people to start drinking, so I guess they got people to start smoking too.
That's also kind of another thing that came along with it too. And then my dad's come here to Monte's for, I'd probably say at least 10 years that he's been smoking more on a monthly basis rather than just the babies born type thing with friends and family. But Monte's here, or the location right here on San Mateo, just north of Comanche here. They've been here since 2007. The business has been open and originated in 1976. It's got one of the largest walk-in humidors for New Mexico.
Wow.
Great selection of sticks for basically anybody trying to buy a gift for your dad, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, anybody who smokes. Any of the guys that are here are more than welcome to help you out as far as trying to find a cigar for you. If you are looking for something special and they don't have, definitely take a look and see what they can do to get it in for you. We got the lounge up here. They've got your memberships too for that, which will give you full access to the lounge.
Nice.
And so a couple other great things that come along with that.
This place has a locker room. I don't know. I was expecting a locker room at a cigar lounge, I guess, but that's pretty cool, man. Like,
yeah, like I showed you, the lockers
here.
there. A little bit of additional fee for it.
You have to be a member for that, by the way.
Yeah, you would have to be a member, and then you do an additional fee there, so you can keep your cigars here. It is got the humidor cut into it, so it stays where it needs to be. With that, and that way you don't have to worry about bringing your cigars and stuff with you. You can have it here. But it's a great place. It's a pretty decent area, like you said before. Got the game on right now behind us, or over behind the cameras there. Throughout the week, it's just a good time. We normally sit here on this exact table, play dominoes almost on a nightly basis. A couple of the guys, and enjoy some cigars and great company. That's basically what it's about.
You know, I was eager to film here, especially at this spot, because Justin posts on Facebook, sometimes on Instagram, different balls that him and his buddies go through when they hang out. And this particular table's got a bunch of, what do you call it? The wrappers, right? The cigar wrappers here. Yeah, and I've always seen it as like, wow, I wanna be at this table, I wanna relax at this table. It's got a lot of history. I'm not sure how old this table is, but certainly has a lot of personality. And this is the table that you want to actually sit down and pair whiskeys with cigars at. So I felt like this is where we needed to do it. So I appreciate that. And I think, obviously Monte's has a good bit of history. This thing didn't just open up overnight, and it's been around for as long as I've been alive. So there's that. But yeah, I appreciate, the hospitality, you and Matt have shown, and this has been really a fun video to shoot. So if you guys, again, are in Albuquerque, definitely hit up Monte's, check the place out. You can come basically empty-handed, and you're going to walk away with some cigars. If you need anything if you need anything particular, you're going to walk away with some knowledge, but they got cutters, lighters, you name it. So
all the accessories, pipe tobacco, pipes, the whole nine.
Yeah. Well, as far as this whiskey, my overall thoughts and impressions is that this to me speaks to the whiskey curious. I like what they did with the secondary finishing. again, being a Kentucky straight bourbon, honestly, if someone pours this for you blind, I don't think that you're going to expect the flavors that you get. Very different. If anything, this feels more on the Scotch side. It does have some minerality as well. It does feel more of a Scotch, more like a Scotch than it does a bourbon. If anything, it's a bourbon that just throws you for a loop. So for that reason, I feel like this definitely speaks to the whiskey curious. But as far as the Blackened M81, right?
Yeah, M81.
What would you say that cigar speaks to?
Probably be right about the same, that cigar curious.
Yeah.
Somebody who's smoked a few cigars and want to try something a little bit different outside the basic easygoing range. To try to get them into something like that, it'd definitely be that whiskey curious.
Nice.
Even the connoisseur is going to enjoy it too. It's definitely got the great flavors that's needed. So both of them I'd probably say, but yeah, just a whiskey curious would be a perfect cigar for.
Nice, nice. Well, hopefully you guys got a little insight on the pairing and, you know, getting that bottle of Blackened. You know, I would highly recommend it. It is different than the other Blackened series. I will say that. It really kind of threw me for a surprise. The flavors, the blend of, you know, different styles that I'm not particularly used to works well, and you know, it definitely gets my stamp of approval for sure. So Justin, thanks a lot for being on the show, being a great guest, and we'll have to have you on again. I'm sure you'll talk us through other cigars.
Yeah, well, we'll have to do it again, or do something again. And
yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
Find something to get together, whether it's cigars and whiskey, or just some whiskey, or some tastings here and there.
I think we may have to have a tasting here if Matt will let us, you know, borrow the place.
Sure, we can get something set up with them. And
awesome. Awesome.
For you.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for checking us out, and hopefully you enjoyed the video, got a little bit of expanded knowledge. Here at Whiskey One, it's about the one you enjoy. Cheers. Oh yeah, you'll have to like talk.
Speak up.
Yeah. Use your man voice. Yeah, you'll have to use your man voice.